Hello my friends all over the world, wherever you are. William Poloniak here again from Whole Health Foundation. Tonight I'm making a juice with French sorrel and collard greens for my greens and a number of other ingredients. Let's take a look at my ingredients. In addition to my French sorrel and my collard greens, I have one medium-sized beet, 140 grams of ginger, one whole garlic head, 155 grams of turmeric, and carrots. So now we'll make some juice. The first thing I'm going to point out is I'm using the near zero blowback cutter that has over 80 teeth cut into the 5 cutter blades and the front loading feed tube. Now the front loading feed tube never, and I mean never, blows produce up to your ceiling. So I'm going to loosen the wing nuts, put the cutter on, and plug in the thermometer. And I'm going to start with 3 ice cubes and cool down the cutter and the feed tube. Now I'm going to do my greens first, and I'll take a couple of these medium-sized collard greens, roll them into a tube, and feed the stem end in first. You notice how there's no blowback. Take these smaller leaves, stem end in first. I cut the beet in half so it will fit. Stops like that, shut it off and give it a jump start. And more collard greens. We'll follow that by the garlic. And I'm going to put the whole head of garlic in at the same time. More collard greens. Every so often. Now for the ginger. More collard greens. Now I'll start with my French sorrel and a small handful. Less is more. More French sorrel. Now here's the rest of my turmeric. Follow that by 3 ice cubes because we're up to 22 degrees already, 22 degrees centigrade. And more French sorrel until we're done with the greens. Last of my French sorrel, so I'll put in 2 or 3 ice cubes and a couple of carrots. Now after I put in a couple of carrots, I'm going to clean my grid and then switch to the number 2 grid, which has smaller holes and does a better job on carrots. So I'll clean the J grid, J for juice, on both sides. and then switch to the number 2 grid that is better for carrots. Now we'll continue with carrots. Now a little bit of puddling down here, so I'm going to push the carrots through by hand and take this carrot pulp, which will absorb any juice down here. And we'll continue with carrots until we're done. It's a good idea to put them small tip to large tip, and sometimes you can get 3 carrots in. Now here's the last of my carrots. Now, even though with this front-loading feed tube you can see in here if everything is shred or not, and usually it is, but just to be sure, because I can't see it down there underneath that pulp that's shred, I'm going to put a couple of fingers full of pulp in here and force anything that might be down there through. And my next step is to clean any pulp out of the feed tube and the grid, and then reassemble, mix my pulp, and make some juice. And let's do that next. So we'll clean any pulp off of the cutter and the pusher, and anything, unplug the thermometer, and let's clean any pulp off of the cutter. There's usually a little bit on the cutter and out of the feed tube. Every juicer sold by Whole Health Foundation comes with this cleaning brush, and it's the perfect size for this and also for cleaning the front of the cutter escutcheon. Sponge, clean this, the front and the escutcheon. Either with a wet towel or a spray nozzle like I'm using, clean the front, then reassemble and continue with the juicing process. The next thing I'm going to do is mix my carrots with my greens and other ingredients. And I find I get an excellent mix if I go in both directions. Now next, we take the claws out of the freezer and crack the ice on the countertop so that we can get them apart. And then we'll start juicing. Now, I'm going to line the folding container with the 6 cloths, leaving some space up here for folded cloths, and we'll put 3 scoops into each cloth. 3 large scoops is about a cup to a cup and a half, and you don't want more than that. Flatten that and put this into as tight a package as you can. And we'll press 2 cloths full of pulp at one time. And I'm going to demonstrate my 6 cloth less work method. Pull that into as tight a package as I can, and 2 of these cloths will go into the press. 2 cloths in the press, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, and back it off. Now the reason you back it off is juice is very slippery, and we want to make sure we have traction here before we advance it all the way. So 3 more scoops into each cloth, large scoops. Now remember to place the pulp in here. If you throw it down, that's juice is going to squirt right back up at you. So don't throw it, place it. This goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top, and we continue in that same rhythm until we're done. Centered left to right, centered front to back. Every so often check that it's on the press plate properly, all the way back it off a little. Now because we have puddling in the bowl, I'm going to very carefully with my thumb here hold it and pour this extra juice into the collection tray very, very slowly. And I say very slowly because the first time I did that I got it all over the countertop and my floor. And that was such a waste of juice. Now, never throw away your pulp. Instead of 3 scoops, we're going to put 2 scoops on top of here. And we'll continue that way until the very end. And toward the end, we might only have to put 1 scoop, depending on how thick that patty is. Now, because my bowl is full, we're not going to press, but we'll put it into bottles. This goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top, but we'll put this into bottles. And put your tray back, but not a little. Do it a lot so it's very obvious. If you do it a little, you'll forget, believe me, and you'll damage your tray and possibly damage your juicer. So all the way back. Now I'm filling from the back side so the camera gets a good look, and I'm leaving 10% to add filtered or distilled water. I use distilled water, but you can use filtered water or even bottled water. I don't like my juice to be too rich, especially for a diabetic. Pull the tray forward, put 2 more cloths full of pulp in the tray, and I'll continue with my 6 cloth less work method. Centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back, back it off a little. Turn the machine on and we'll continue. The patty is still pretty thin, so I'm going to put 2 scoops on top. Later, perhaps 1. 1 huge scoop, because that patty is getting very, very thick. Advance that all the way when you're on your last cloth. Flatten that. This goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top. And yes, we do need to put only 1 scoop because that patty in there is getting very, very thick. Centered left to right, centered front to back, and adjust if need be. You want it to be right in the center, all the way back it off a little. And we'll continue putting only 1 scoop. 1 scoop. I'll put that in the sink, and I'm going to use a spatula to get all of this precious pulp out here, most of which I grew myself in the garden. And even if you bought it, it's very expensive, so waste not, want not. Check your tray, make sure your cloths are centered, left to right, front to back, all the way back it off. Now, this spent pulp, most people would throw away. I'm going to show you how you can get 10% more juice, and the nutrients in the last 10% are the most valuable. So you roll it into a tight package, basically into a tight ball, and then you use my special folding technique where you fold under a very, very tight package. 3, 4, or 5 times, as many times as you can, depending on the size of the packet. And fold it under, like so. Flatten it, set it aside, all the way back. And we'll continue repackaging this pulp until all of the pulp is repackaged. Now, my friends, as you can see, I have 3 double packets of repackaged pulp. This is pulp that most people would have thrown away because nobody tells them, like I'm telling you now, that there's more juice in here and more valuable juice. So let's put this in the tray, and while I'm filling bottles, I'm going to use a measuring beaker to catch the juice. So let's move this further over here. Make sure the tray is on the press plate properly. Put 2 of these in the press area, and it's a very tight fit. So make sure it's in the center. That's very, very important. Centered front to back, centered left to right. Now before we press this, let's fill this into bottles. And I'll remind you, I'm leaving 10% for water. You can use bottled water. I use distilled water because I have a water distiller. But you could use filtered water, even tap water if you don't have a water filter. Now I remind you, I'm using a measuring beaker. We want to see how many more ounces of juice we get. All the way back it off until we get traction, and then we'll forward it all the way. There we have traction. As long as you have a steady stream, you can leave it up as long as you want with the Whole Health Foundation model that has this bottom solid plate. With the Norwalk juicer, you could only leave it up 10 seconds or so. So we have droplets. We'll back that off, and we'll put in 2 more cloths full of pulp. Almost 7 ounces. And again, as long as you have a steady flow, you can leave this up as long as you want. And that's because of this solid bottom plate made exclusively by Whole Health Foundation. All right, we have droplets. We'll put in our last 3 sets, and I can see there's dampness around the edges, so I'm going to repackage that one more time. Now I'm repackaging this a second time, and if you can see, it's very damp around the edges still, so that's why I'm repackaging it again. I want to get every ounce of valuable juice out of this produce into a nice tight package. I have a little over 12 ounces from the first pressing. Let's see how much we get from pressing it again. Centered, left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back, back it off a little. And as soon as you get traction, advance that all the way. Well, as I suspected, a lot more juice from repackaging those very, very full packets. All right, here's the last 2 repackaged cloths of pulp. In the center, left to right, front to back, all the way back, back it off a little bit. A little over 16 ounces so far. There's 18 ounces, and it's going to overflow, so I'm going to stop it, pour this into the collection container, and then continue pressing all the way back. Looks like I made a little bit of a mess there, so let's clean that up. Now we have another 7 ounces of juice when it forms the droplets. Another 7, so we have 18 and 7. 25 ounces of juice. And we'll put those into bottles. Now I'm topping these off with distilled water, and I have 12 bottles of juice. So now we'll cap them off. Well, as you can see, my friends, I have 5, 10, 12 bottles of juice, and these last 2 bottles came from pressing the spent pulp again. So we got approximately 10% more juice with more nutrients and more valuable nutrients, plus enough for a taste test. So well, my friends, here we have another juice, and my greens were collards and French sorrel. Oh, this is delicious. I can definitely taste the French sorrel. French sorrel always sweetens up a juice, and it cleanses every gland in your body. Well, my friends, I hope you like what you've seen, and if you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to call me or email me to buy a juicer or parts or get advice or recipes, give me a phone call or send me an email. My phone is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfound.com. See you in the next video.